What's going on, y'all? So, as you can see, Monday Night Raw review time, right? So, welcome, sit down, let's get into it. They started off with a Judgment Day promo where they basically came out and talked about different points. How they talked about Extreme Rules and their this was a go home. I just not realizing as I was just talking right now that this was a go home show. 'Cause I forgot this Saturday is Extreme Rules. But yeah, Finn Balor basically talked about his match with Edge and the I Quit match at Extreme Rules. And I think Dominic had a little line about his father, how he hated his father, and that his father lied to him pretty much his whole life, and then he made a line about "you're not my poppy anymore." I think Damien. I forgot what Damian Priest honestly said. I think he was echoing, hype manning what Finn Balor and them was saying. He could have said something. Like I said, totally forgot what he was saying. But Finn Balor also talked about AJ Styles and stuff in the upcoming match with Rey Mysterio and AJ Styles. But they will be interrupted by Rey Mysterio and AJ. I think AJ first, and then Rey Mysterio, and thus we will transition from this promo to the first match of the night, which was AJ Styles and Rey Mysterio versus the Judgment Day of Finn Balor and Damian Priest. And this was a typical match. The highlight point of this match is the fact that the rumors of Finn Balor getting a push, a major push, because I think the rumors said there was not only he's going to get a major push, but they positioned him to be one of the top stars in the company. And it's been evident in the past couple of weeks where basically Finn Balor I remember we went from when was the last time Finn Balor won a match to now when is the last time Finn Balor we actually getting to the point where I can't really honestly remember the last time Finn Balor lost a match. And because he's been on this incredible winning streak and it continued here. And it was a great match nonetheless between the two. Not a bad way to start off the show. And we did get like some shenanigans from Rhea Ripley and Dominic, and this ultimately would lead to the downfall of AJ Styles and Rey Mysterio. I think it was Dominic trying to get ready to hit him again, but then he would turn around and get blasted by Rhea, and Finn Balor would take control and hit the coup de grace to pin AJ Styles. And then the other highlight was Rey Mysterio was trying to apologize to AJ Styles, but AJ Styles got mad and pushed Rey Mysterio, telling him that it really was his fault. I think Rey Mysterio was saying, "My fault. This is my fault. We lost because of me." And he pretty much got mad and agreed and pushed him, saying it really was his fault. To which Rey Mysterio, angrily just walked away from AJ Styles, and then Finn Balor would basically beat up AJ Styles while Finn is constantly screaming at him, "I told you to join us. I'm your only friend," and that pretty much ended that. We did get a couple of backstage promos. I didn't write them down, but we did. I think we got a backstage promo with Sami Zayn and the Usos. It was like Sami and them was basically in the back joking around. Him and Jimmy was joking. To which Solo was just sitting there. At first, he was just stone cold face, and then he started laughing a little bit at the supposed joke that Sami was telling Jimmy. And Jay came in and was like, "Oh yeah, y'all back here laughing and joking around. We supposed to be here for business, preparing Raw for the Tribal Chiefs return next week on the season premiere." And he was all business and stuff. And he was like, "You know what? Yeah, you're right. Let the honorary Usos, pave the way for Roman Reigns." And they started going back. This would lead to a confrontation with Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins, to which I didn't even notice until this episode that I didn't even know Montez Fords were hurt, because they made reference to when Montez Ford said something smart to Jimmy, and he was like, "What you was going?" Jay was like, "What you was gonna say? Go ahead and say it, because I'm gonna give you another boot. I'm gonna give you a matching boot." And then Kevin panned down to show him with a boot on, like a foot brace. And I was just like, "Oh crap, he hurt himself." But it must not be that bad, because what he got, he's able to walk and stuff, so it must not be that bad. But I didn't know he was on the injury list. But this will lead to a match between Solo and Angelo Dawkins for later on tonight. Did that happen? I'm trying to look at my notes here to see if I don't got it written down. Yep, that means we had a Miz promo. We got a backstage promo with the Miz as well about ending. He was talking to Maurice on the phone, basically trying to end things with Dexter Lumis. He's going to end. He said he was going to end it. I was hoping that they would set up a match between the two at Extreme Rules, but it pretty much didn't happen here on this episode. We did get while he was talking and got interrupted, he was talking to Maurice, and you saw the door open. You saw Dexter Lumis try to grab the Miz, but he would get pulled away at the last moment by a technician. To which like you saw Dexter like, "Dang it," and he just went back. He just snuck back in, and then the Miz got back in position and continued talking about him taking care of Dexter Lumis. To which then he leaves, and Dexter Lumis opens the door back, ominously just looking all sinister. well, not even sinister. He just had that weird, just blank expression. I think it was another backstage promo, but I can't remember what it was. But we'll finally get to the second match of the night, and this actually took place between the first match and the second match. We'll get to the second match of the night, which is Bobby Lashley versus Mustafa. Oh, I think that was the other one too. Now that I think about it, the other promo was just an early in the day promo. They showed how this match came about between Bobby Lashley and Mustafa, with Mustafa Ali basically challenging, demanding that he have an opportunity against Bobby Lashley, and I think he was a little bit like forward and disrespectful with Bobby Lashley, so that's pretty much why Bobby Lashley gave him the opportunity, and thus this match comes about. And this was it was an okay match. Mustafa had some offense, but in the end, Bobby Lashley won with the Hurt Lock to put Mustafa down. Moving on to one, I think I want to say probably the best promo of the night. It probably, you know what? No, I think it's up there, because the Bianca Belair contract signing one was another good one. But I would say this was probably the best promo of the night, and then the Bianca Belair one was probably either a very good second or a tie for first place as well. But this promo basically was it's been revealed that there was a no contact clause, and that Seth Rollins and Matt Riddle can't touch each other, but they basically confront each other, jaw jacket with each other, and basically try to goad each other into hitting them. And then it ended with Seth Rollins. They revealed too that is it Daniel Cormier? I think it is. Because they revealed, I think it was revealed over the weekend, but then they revealed it officially here on Raw that I think it's Daniel Cormier will be the special guest referee for the Fight Pit match. Because you remember the last time Riddle was in one, when it was on NXT, Kurt Angle was the special guest referee, and now they got Daniel Cormier. I think, I could be wrong, but I think it's Daniel Cormier. I know I think that's the name, because he's a UFC guy, and he actually made an appearance. It looked like it was like a pre-recorded Skype thing, or maybe it was an actual live feed Skype call. But he appeared on the Titantron, basically trying to take control and telling him that he lives for this and that he can't wait till this Saturday to be the special guest referee, because he's going to make sure that this match goes down the way it's supposed to. which is going to be interesting too, because that fight, as I remember correctly, that fight pit cage is very big and very wide. So that's going to be interesting when they with that match. I can't wait to see it. But we move on to the next match, which is Candice LeRae versus Dakota Kai. And this was another good match, but just like with the Judgment Day match, it had the shenanigans of Bayley and Eo Skye. I was wondering why Bianca and them didn't come out, but they didn't come out and try to even up, with Candice LeRae help her. But it made sense why Candice LeRae didn't come out later on, because you really didn't come. You didn't have my back earlier in the night, so why wouldn't I have yours? But I mean, it's not like this is. I'm not trying to say she's going to turn heel, but it made sense why they didn't have her in story show up where they wouldn't have Bianca and they'll show up during this moment. But otherwise, it was a good match. I didn't. You know what? It could have went either way. It could have been Candice LeRae or it could have been Dakota Kai. But the way they went, I wasn't shocked, but I was like, okay. I was a little bit shocked that they actually allowed Candice LeRae to take the loss, but I see why they want to protect Dakota Kai now. So yeah, Candice LeRae took the loss, but they did it so in a way where you don't think Candice would look bad. She didn't look bad in her loss. So they still keep her momentum, but she did take the pin loss here to Dakota Kai after some shenanigan distractions from Bayley. We would get to ironically, the next match will be Johnny Gargano versus Otis. And during this time, they had a little promo backstage where they saw Johnny Gargano get ready to walk out to the ring. And the reason why I call this a promo, because this is the second part at this moment, right before his match. This was like the second part to the whole Miz thing, where as he was walking up, he walked and he stopped and looked, and the camera shows over that the Miz is just unconscious, laying on this equipment box, and Johnny he poking the Miz, and he see what's on the Miz's chest, and it turns out to be a picture that Dexter Lumis wrote, and the Miz jumps, and he's like, what the heck? And he looks at Johnny, and then he looks at the picture, and he throws the picture at him and runs away, and Johnny just laughing at the Miz, and he just go, oh Dexter Lumis, or Dexter, he said, and then he goes to have his match with Otis, where this was actually a good David Goliath like match with Johnny Gargano being the smaller guy, but he kind of did hold his own with Otis, but again, shenanigans, like that should be the theme of the shenanigans should have just been the theme of this episode, because this is another match where shenanigans cause the person to lose. And Johnny Gargano will take the pinfall here against Otis, thanks to the shenanigans of Chad Gable. But we don't have time to even process the fact that Johnny Gargano just lost a match to Otis, because as they right after the loss, and I think they was getting ready to try to beat up on Johnny Gargano. I think Austin Theory was at ringside too. It was Chad Gable and Austin Theory. Speaking of which, because I think Austin Theory hit Johnny Gargano with the briefcase. That's how he got World's Strongest Slam by Otis. But yeah, throughout the shenanigans and stuff, I think it was all three was getting ready to beat up on Johnny Gargano. That's where Braun Strowman came out, and Braun Strowman basically chased off Otis and not Johnny, but Otis and Austin Theory, but he was able to catch Chad Gable before he could run, and thus their match got started right then and there. And like I said, not even 5 minutes after the match, at the Johnny Gargano match ended, we right into the fifth match of the night, which was Chad Gable versus Braun Strowman, which was basically the same as the Johnny Gargano match, but the opposite, where Chad Gable was the one being rad dog, but he had some great offense, and he did that German. I can't believe he pulled that German suplex off on Braun Strowman. That was incredible. It might not have been the best match of the night, but that was that was the best moment. I will give credit where credit is due. That was the best moment of the night. Seeing Chad Gable hit that Northern Light German suplex on Braun Strowman. But with a powerbomb, Braun Strowman would get the video with Chad Gable. Then came the what I talked about earlier, the Bayley and Bianca contract signing, where basically I saw something on Facebook, by the way. Just a segue, just a little, not the segue, but it's the same thing. That I think it was on Facebook. They were saying how Bianca Belair basically has the best contract signing promos because they always good and always end with in a good old fashioned beatdown. And the reason why I mentioned that because this didn't change none of that. This was just like that. They both had good promos. Bayley calling Bianca egotistical, and that she probably think it's some type of revenge thing why she chose a ladder match. Cause she said you might because you so much of it. She said you got so much of a big ego. You probably think that this is all about revenge because you KO'd me and that Hell in a Cell match on top of the ladder. And she basically talked about how she used to be Bianca. Bayley told Bianca how she used to beat her with the adoration and stuff. She said all those Bianca signs and kids with the Bianca shirts on was once people with her stuff on, with her headband and stuff until she basically changed to save her career. And Bianca stopped her and told her, like, no, you basically became who you always were. She said you changed to save your career. She like, no, you just became who you always was. She basically alluded to that the huggable Bayley was basically the fake Bayley, and that the Bayley that's here now is the real Bayley. Bayley would take offense to this and allude to something that might be going on backstage, to which we cut to the backstage feed, and Dakota Kai and she finally alluded to why Dakota Kai and Eo Skye wasn't here, and we see that because they getting beat up, they backstage beating up on Alexis Bliss and Asuka. You see Asuka is hurt, she ain't got her leg smashed in the chair, and they brawling. Bianca, she stricken with this, she tried to get up and go help them, but Bayley was yanked her. Like I was just like, holy crap! The way Bayley yanked her onto the table and over it, it was like so sudden. The camera didn't have time to catch it, barely catch it. But they will fight for a minute. But Bianca will get the best of Bayley, leaving her like a villain from a Bond movie. She's just sitting there on the ground laughing, and she see Bianca trying to race back there to help them. Which she kind of does, but they, she do help fight them off a little bit, but it was more so like they got a couple shots in, she got a couple shots in, but they mostly just took off. And Alexa will look at the camera basically to say that this ain't over, Eo. Me, you tonight, and that would actually become is the co-main event? Was that the co-main event? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, that was part of the was the main event. Actually, I should say. And I looked at my notes. I just seen where I wrote it at. We would get the like I said, the co-main event, which is Solo versus Angelo Dawkins, which was a good match, and Angelo Dawkins looked good. He almost won the matches was before yet again shenanigans. But it was also on, the difference here was that it was on both sides, because Solo could have won the match earlier in the fight, but due to Jay and Sammy getting into an argument, that the referee was distracted, and thus the referee didn't realize that Solo had Angelo Dawkins pinning for the 3 count, but it would happen for Angelo, but in the end Solo would win with a spinning Solo. there was an Edge promo in responding to what Finn Balor said earlier. He talked about how he basically like this whole thing has taken a toll on his family. How Beth, he can see the look on Beth's face, how she want him to get out this hole, but he don't think she probably, but and we're being realistic, he knows she probably think that ship is already sailed, that it's too late for him to get out this hole that he's in, and that but he said that's who I am. He said he called me crazy, but that's who I am. It's just me, and he understand why Ray wouldn't want nothing to do with this. It's his fault about Judgment Day, and that his son got swept into it, and that he's basically vowed to finish Finn Balor at Extreme Rules. Then we move on to the main event, Alexis Bliss versus Eo Skye. And once again, shenanigans. I might even use that as a little tag. I might just put shenanigans in my thumbnail. But yeah, due to some more interference, this was a good match. Nonetheless, it made they went back and forth. Both of it was main event worthy match. And both of them could have won the match at different points, but due to shenanigans, it all happened again. I think once the match was won, I think Eo Skye won thanks to interference from both Dakota and Bailey, and thus they begin to jump, but Bianca would try to fight and take control, and sometimes she did for the most part. And Asuka even came out with a kendo still limping, trying to help, but she just would get beat up. And they brought in a ladder and basically beat them up with it, and then they stood tall to end the show with all three Damage Control members on the ladder with with Bailey up at the top with the Women's Championship, and the other two with the tag team below her. This was a good show. I wouldn't say a great show. It was a good show. I want to give it a 7 out of 10 big ups just because I was thoroughly entertained and nothing really bad happened. I mean, it actually did its job as a go-home show. I would honestly say that it did its job as a go-home show. They gave me hype for Extreme Rules. But you let me know in the comments down below what you thought. And if you enjoyed this review video, you hit this button right there in the upper right corner for all of my WWE reviews. And if you enjoyed this video so much, you want to support the channel, you know what to do. Hit those buttons. And as always, hit any one of these videos for more of my amazing content. Don't go anywhere, because I got more coming your way, including reactions and more reviews. Peace.